Hello, is anyone there? This is Grimm Grinner, on all channels.
Infected attacks rampant in the GAT. The government failed, unified into the corporation.
Have a safe day.
Desolation, an endless wasteland.
Nothing but static.
Searching for a shred of hope.
Welcome to the Wastes.
Good evening, my wastes. This is Grimm Grinner on all channels. It's been an awfully cold start to the new year, but we're making it through as we usually do. I know that here at the bunker, we've got the heating systems working overtime to heat all of our rooms, which has led to us doubling up in spaces whenever we're all up and moving, just to be able to reroute power a little more effectively, and we're still needing to try and figure out extra layers. Scavenge and supply runs have been more difficult as well, but Jailbreak and Balasar have been working on some stuff to try and, help with couriers, making safe runs without the risk of hypothermia. Meanwhile, I know places like Burblack and Osund have become hotspots of activity in every sense of the term. Basically, any fenced-off communities that are out there have been able to use whatever resources available to keep any wandering wastelanders warm while this winter storm keeps us all apart for the time being. I can only imagine how things are at the smaller outposts, and I do encourage anyone that's out in this and can hear me to make for any sort of safe shelter. Being with other survivors is sure to help with fending off any of the dangers out there, as well as pooling resources can keep you going if it ends up being a long haul. In the meantime, I'll just transmit out some updates for anyone picking up the signal through the storm. I recently heard a call from a bit southeast of River's Edge for assistance in getting some greenhouses up and running. That area was hit with some pretty nasty storms in recent months, and getting the soil cleansed of the rads is proving to be a bit tricky without the structures ready for growing anything. So if there is anyone available to make that run when the cold snap fades, the help would be appreciated and compensated for. There's also been news coming in from the edges of corporate territory that it seems like this weather has been rough enough to actually keep the creeps from doing their usual patrols. Apparently their fancy tech hasn't been able to withstand it, and most of the squads that have been spotted were making their way closer to the GAT and the walls. Bit surprised, but also not really surprised on my end, if I'm being honest. I mean, most of their attire is monochrome, so I can see the black parts of their suits being an easy target, but I've seen some of their winterized suits, and last I checked, those aren't as easy to spot in a snowstorm. Well, I'm not complaining. They can lock themselves away all winter and leave us to surviving and thriving out here. Another silver lining to this weather is that the ferals seem to have gone into a sort of hibernation cycle. I've been talking with RG, and he's been talking to some of the more scientific types he knows out there. And it sounds like the feral virus still kind of keeps a lot of those basic survival instincts around in terms of hiding away from bad weather and keeping the host alive. Which is kind of interesting, and could almost give one hope that there may be a cure one day, or some way of reversing things. But I also wouldn't hold out too much hope, especially with the knowledge that there seems to be an increase in the types of variations to the standard ferals we've grown used to. As if today couldn't get much worse. Guess I'll have to try and speedrun some of these updates so I can go and double check the exterior bunker systems. Last time I got an alert like that, the storm that hit messed up half a floor from the vents not being properly shut. Took forever to clear out the radiation again. Alright, in that case, a note for any Phoenix Express couriers that are currently stationed at any outposts and can't make runs right now. The Express has contacted any traders and outpost owners that are friendly to be able to allot a small line of credit for any supplies and shelter during the storms that have been sweeping through. It's not much, and will eventually require some hands for getting repayments made, but it should be enough to allow for anything you need for the time being. The liquor box is also once again shutting its doors for the time being, in lieu of Miss Aliker's departure just before this winter chill set in. She's not expected to return, as she is left to pursue other interests which have only been disclosed to a few of the staff there. While closed, the bordello is going to undergo a change in management structure, as well as another rebranding, which I'm sure we'll get news on once things settle. News has also reached my ears that everyone's least favorite egomaniacal psychopath, the Judge, has been issuing some sort of new decrees amongst his followers. I've yet to pick up one of the new transmissions he's been making because he seems to keep changing up the broadcast frequencies on me, but it does sound like he's planning something big. Not sure the timeline or what he might have happen, but I do recommend being on alert in case any jury members are spotted near any outposts or settlements or hell in general, really. Lastly, I've received word that an old meat packing factory has been recently occupied by a small group of individuals that appear to unfortunately be covered in blood every time they've been seen entering the place. The factory is located in the ruins just east of Fall's Edge, so I advise caution passing through that area. I've got to make a small run that way myself when things clear up, and we'll try and gather whatever information I can when I do. That way I can give a better warning with more info. Well, that's all I've managed to pick up for this week, Wasteland. I better get on securing the bunker, and I advise anyone that can hear this to ensure that your own shelters are secure and safe. This has been Grimm Grinner on all channels. See you in the wastes. Welcome to the Wastes is a Voice in the Static production, written, starring, and produced by Edward Grimm Grinner Hutchinson. You can find Welcome to the Wastes on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and other social media sites, and there's a merch store through Etsy. Links are in the episode description. Welcome to the Wastes is also made possible with the love and support of listeners and Wastelanders like you. If you want to help support the show on Patreon, that link will also be in the description, alongside the list of monthly supporters. Thanks for listening.